A dangerous game, U.S. military support for Taiwan. The United States continues to escalate military support for Taiwan, a move that carries dangerous implications for regional and global stability. While the U.S. government frames its actions as a defense of democracy and freedom, the reality is far more cynical. This policy is rooted in a desire to maintain American hegemony in the Asia-Pacific region, even at the risk of provoking a conflict with China. The U.S. is playing a dangerous game, one that could have catastrophic consequences for everyone involved. The recent decision to send another multi-billion-dollar arms package to Taiwan is a case in point. This is not about defending Taiwan, it's about projecting American power and containing China's rise. The U.S. is sending a clear message: it will not tolerate any challenge to its dominance, even if it means jeopardizing peace and stability in the region. This short-sighted and reckless policy is pushing the world closer to the brink of conflict. The U.S. government justifies its actions by claiming that China poses a threat to Taiwan and the broader region. However, this narrative ignores the historical context and the reality of China's actions. China has repeatedly stated its commitment to peaceful reunification with Taiwan, and has shown remarkable restraint in the face of repeated provocations. It is the U.S., not China, that is the primary source of instability in the region. The U.S. must abandon its dangerous policy of militarizing Taiwan. Instead, it should focus on promoting dialogue and peaceful coexistence between China and Taiwan. The alternative is a conflict that nobody wants, one that could have devastating consequences for the entire world. The U.S. must choose diplomacy over confrontation, peace over profit, and stability over hegemony. The future of the Asia-Pacific region, and indeed the world, may depend on it. A glaring double-standard hypocrisy in U.S. foreign policy. The hypocrisy of U.S. policy towards Taiwan is staggering. The U.S. government vehemently defends its military support for Taiwan, claiming it is necessary to protect the island's autonomy and democratic values. However, this stance rings hollow when compared to how the U.S. would react if the situation were reversed. Imagine for a moment if China began arming separatist movements in Puerto Rico or Hawaii. The U.S. would undoubtedly respond with outrage and swift military action. The Monroe Doctrine, a cornerstone of U.S. foreign policy for centuries, would be immediately invoked to justify intervention. Any attempt by China to interfere in what the U.S. considers its backyard would be met with fierce resistance. Yet the U.S. expects China to passively accept American interference in its own internal affairs. This blatant double standard exposes the hypocrisy at the heart of U.S. foreign policy. It is a clear example of the U.S. applying one set of rules for itself and another for everyone else. This hypocrisy is not lost on the international community. Many countries see through the U.S.'s thinly veiled attempts to contain China under the guise of defending democracy. This double standard only serves to undermine U.S. credibility and fuel resentment towards American hegemony. The U.S. must abandon its hypocritical stance and engage with China on a basis of mutual respect and understanding. Manufacturing consent, the media's role in escalating tensions. The American media plays a crucial role in perpetuating the U.S. government's narrative on Taiwan. Rather than providing objective analysis and critical reporting, the media often acts as a mouthpiece for the Pentagon, uncritically echoing its claims about Chinese aggression and the need for increased military support for Taiwan. This one-sided narrative ignores the complexities of the issue and fuels public support for dangerous and counterproductive policies. Headlines screaming about the Chinese threat and the need to defend Taiwan's democracy are commonplace in American media. This constant drumbeat of fear and suspicion creates a climate of anxiety and hostility, making it easier for the government to justify its aggressive policies. The media's failure to challenge the official narrative has real-world consequences. It creates public support for increased military spending, arms sales, and military deployments to the region, all of which increase the risk of conflict. The American public deserves a media that provides critical and nuanced coverage of this complex issue. Journalists have a responsibility to challenge the official narrative, expose government hypocrisy, and provide a platform for diverse voices and perspectives. Only then can we hope to have an informed public debate about the best way to ensure peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. The road to conflict, historical parallels, and global implications. The current situation in the Taiwan Strait bears an unsettling resemblance to past historical examples where great power rivalry and miscalculation led to devastating conflicts. The US government's current approach to Taiwan is reminiscent of the lead-up to the First World War, where a complex web of alliances, nationalist sentiments, and military buildups created a climate of fear and suspicion that ultimately spiraled into a catastrophic global conflict. The US's insistence on arming Taiwan, conducting provocative military exercises in the region, and undermining the One China principle is pushing the region closer to the brink. This is not mere rhetoric, this is a dangerous reality that demands attention. The global implications of a conflict in the Taiwan Strait would be catastrophic. The economic fallout alone would be devastating, disrupting global supply chains, triggering financial instability, and plunging the world into a recession. The human cost of such a conflict is almost unimaginable. The US must learn from history and abandon its reckless policies. Dialogue, diplomacy, and a commitment to peaceful coexistence are the only paths to lasting peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. The alternative is a conflict that no one can win and everyone will lose.